Welcome back once again, my divine brothers and sisters. We today at Olympus Astrology are looking at the chart of John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien. For those who don't know him by his name, he is the author of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and The Silmarillion and a whole bunch of other stuff that nobody knows about. But the author of The Lord of the Rings, I believe the best-selling series, the best-selling books in the history of the world, as far as, apart from probably like the Bible and other stuff like that, but fantasy fiction, you know. Well, Bible, I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure about that. But as I've heard it, he's the best-selling author in at least modern history. So, and his stories are absolutely incredible. Obviously, there's the movies that have been made, which are some of the best movies in a very, 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 very long time. He is quite the man. For those of you who don't know, I'm a massive fan. I'm a huge fan of Tolkien. I know all about his life. I've read his biography. I've read the books. I've read The Hobbit. I've read The Silmarillion. I've watched the movies a million times, so I know a lot about this guy. He's one of my favorites, and I know the last couple of videos I've been doing, they have been slightly darker topics. You know, we did the King's coronation. We did Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift wasn't too bad. She's fine. She's fun. But the King's coronation, that's dark. So I want to do something to balance that out. And here is some really, really bright stuff. I would love to, actually I can open up Porphyrius Magus here. So as you guys can see, this is his chart. He is got Leo on the ascendant here with the Babylonian sidereal zodiac, which I use. And so, all right, so he's an ultra famous guy. And he didn't become famous until he was about, I want to say 60? Yes, about 60, yes. 60, something like that, when he was older, in his old age. And then he became really famous after he died. I think he died in 76, something like that. And the movies weren't made until 2001. And then his son, Christopher Tolkien, died a few years ago in 2018, I believe. So the movies, I think, are really what made it super, super well-known. But already it was a smash hit everywhere across the entire globe, across the entire plane. And so we want to know why. What in his chart signifies that? And for some of you who are more keen-eyed and have been following me for a while, you will see it. This is whenever somebody brings me a famous chart, I know there's a limited number of things that I have to look for, and if they're not there, then the birth time must be wrong. That's essentially is the idea, or the birth must be erroneous, because you cannot have a world-famous chart without some very, very, very seriously strong markers. And here it's obvious we have a royal star on the descendant, so on the setting horizon here on the right-hand side where my cursor is, we see the star Fomalhaut, the royal star in Aquarius, which is actually, this is very interesting for everybody, this is the star that is linked with the golden age of Aquarius. So this guy, whether he knows it or not, he has been working for the golden age of Aquarius. Because of many reasons, actually not just Fomalhaut, there's a few other things that are in here that tell us that. So wow, there's actually a lot in here. This just blows my mind. So Fomalhaut on the descendant. And it's a few degrees away, you know. Fomalhaut's at 8 degrees Aquarius. His descendant is like 12 or 13 degrees. So it's, you know, it's a few degrees away. That's not very strong if it's a few degrees away from the descendant. But what makes this ultra strong is the moon. The moon is in exact conjunction with Fomalhaut, and only a few degrees from the descendant. Actually, the moon is exactly setting. You can see this curved line. This is the setting horizon, and the moon is setting. So we have a double conjunction of the moon and the descendant with a royal star. When this happens, when the moon or the sun is conjunct with a royal star, and is close to the MC, the ascendant, the descendant, or perhaps even the IC, then you have a chart of massive fame. The other options are a very, very, very powerful Moon-Jupiter conjunction or trine. There are a couple of other options, but these are pretty much the only ones that you will find in celebrity charts. And actually, mentioning the Moon-Jupiter conjunction, what do we have here? The Moon approaching a conjunction with Jupiter in the sacred zone of Aquarius. And the sacred zone of Aquarius is the exact degree here, 20 degrees, right where his Jupiter is. 20 degrees, which is exactly linked with the age of Aquarius, the age of divine wisdom and of divine artistic inspiration. Mic drop. Take a drink, I'll take a sip, and I'll drop my mic. Because what is this guy? He's an artist, he's a writer, ultra famous writer, and he is here inspired by angels. Jupiter, a benefic planet in the sacred zone of Aquarius. The angels of Jupiter visit him through his skill of imagination. And this is actually, because the sacred zone is there, we can infer that this is a spiritual ability that he has developed over many lifetimes. To have a very profound emotional, because the moon is there as well, profound angelic and emotional link with divine artistry and just angelic presences in general on the other side. So really, really powerful chart. I will do more looking at this chart. I will look at it more on my Patreon if you want to follow me over there. I'm going to do a couple more omens that are here in the chart because it's very interesting, but I'll probably do an hour long, half an hour to an hour long complete analysis with all kinds of ancient astrology techniques, predictive techniques. We'll move the chart. I'll show you how those work. I'll explain how this works, because I promise you, if you understand ancient astrology, you understand the structure of the universe. And I know a lot of you watch my stuff, you don't really understand what I'm saying, or you may read an ancient text and it just seems like absolute gibberish. You may like what it says, it might sound cool, but you don't really understand it, and that's fair enough. And it's very hard to understand this stuff. I totally understand that. I totally admit that. But if you're serious about getting to the bottom of this and you have a good heart and willing feet, so to speak, you will absolutely be given the keys to the kingdom, because that is what I'm offering you with this kind of astrology. It is truly, truly remarkable. So if you want to invest in that skill for yourself and touch the divine world, which is written in the stars, check out my Patreon link. The link is in the description. $15 a month, and I'm trying to post weekly there, a longer video. So, sorry about shouting into the microphone. So what else have we got here? We have quite a few. He has quite a few Neptune, Pluto up here on the MC with Aldebaran, which is interesting. The MC is 5 degrees away from Aldebaran, which is another royal star of big success and fame. This is 5 degrees is very weak. Already getting very weak. So, some money, some wealth from that, but it's not the main power of this chart by a long shot. The ascendant is 7 degrees away from Regulus, so even further away from that royal star, as you can see. So Regulus and Aldebaran, they are not what is causing the great power. Maybe they influence it somewhat. Regulus is good for Leo. The whole sign of Leo is very good for upstanding people, very upstanding people, and who have strong morals. They're very loyal. They're very straight to the point, responsible, all that kind of thing. I should also mention that Fomalhaut, this star over here, which he has, which is making him famous, is the star of artistic spirituality. And I should also explain this, because it's on the descendant, that's why he wasn't famous until he became much older. I think it wasn't until he was almost till he passed away. Then he was even knighted by the Queen. which is quite remarkable. So, yeah, his descendant being so loaded with powerful omens, Jupiter, Moon, waxing Moon, Moon-Jupiter conjunction, Fomalhaut being there with the double conjunction, that is what the descendant is, what makes all of those things come into play later on in life. It isn't always this simple. It is nice when it is this simple. A lot of the time it is. If somebody has imagine that all this Moon Fomalhaut stuff was on the ascendant, well, then probably he would be famous much sooner. I should do an example analysis of my chart as well, actually, because it's a very interesting one, and I love analyzing it. And I don't know, I find it difficult to do it without talking myself up too much. So the other thing is his love life, his marriage. You can see that the Moon is on the descendant, Jupiter's on the descendant, so a very blessed marriage angle. So his marriage is generally very happy, very spiritual, very agreeable. Obviously, no marriage is perfect. And certainly him and his wife, Edith, they were not, perfect, and nobody is. But on the whole, in this destiny, a very lucky love life. This is also shown by the trine of Saturn to Venus, which is stable. It means stable relationships. Saturn trine Venus is about stability in your relationships. So you married one woman. I mean, that back then, that's what you did. You had one wife or one husband, and even if you hated each other, you stayed together, kind of thing. So and obviously they didn't hate each other. And you can see also how important his wife and his mother were. They were enormously important, and I want to talk about that more on my Patreon. So again, if you really want to dive into the deeper side of this ancient astrology, I will do a complete analysis of this chart, talking about his whole life, the events of his life, the timing of it, all of that on my Patreon. So click the link in the description for that. And thank you for supporting me. God bless you, my friends. I will see you in that big boy video on John Ronald Reuel Tolkien. Bye-bye.